Okay, year 10, we're going to go through the Shakespeare essay that I've written. I will upload this as well, so if you want a copy to sort of run through, it will be uploaded. So this was the essay that I started for you and I asked you to continue. And I've continued it to show you sort of where my ideas are coming from. Now over here I've written a key. So anywhere we're seeing green, it's AO1. Anywhere we're seeing purple, it's AO2. And anywhere we're seeing pink, it's AO3. Now, if you look at which colour dominates this, you'll see that it's actually purple. That is because you will get more marks for AO2. So you'll get more marks for your language analysis than you'll get for anything else. The pink and the green are put in sort of throughout. Now, the pink is only there to support the purple. Okay, that's the reason. So that's the reason you include context. You can't just write lots of context. It's got to support the language analysis. And you'll notice that the AO1, which is sort of how you respond to the question and how you respond to like the writer's message and things, that comes sort of at the beginning and the end of the paragraphs. So you'll start to notice that we've got the beginning and the end. And that is because, and I know I've gone through this with you before, it's all about weaving your essays together, okay? So if you were to stitch something, if you were to make a stitch, if you were to sew, you would have a stitch going over and a stitch coming under. Now, that stitch going over is your argument. The stitch coming under, that's how you support your argument. So you might only see this stitch on the outside. However, this stitch is really important because it supports everything. It makes sure that whatever you're sewing together doesn't come apart. If you don't have good AO2 and AO3, then your essay will come apart. So I'll follow through with you and we'll go from the line of argument. So I believe Shakespeare was attempting to present Lady Macbeth as the worst character in Act 1. In addition, I believe he may be doing this to present the idea that women were a corrupting influence. Now, if I include a message in my line of argument, then it stops me from going off on a complete tangent. It stops me from going off topic because I know that I want to keep coming back to that message. So how did Shakespeare prove this message? So that's what I need to support. How is he proving this message? So, firstly, through the biblical allusion. So remember, a biblical allusion is a biblical reference. Through the biblical allusion, look like the innocent flower but be the serpent under it. Lady Macbeth ties herself to the devil as he appeared as a serpent in the Bible. Now, I can't just include that. I need to analyse the language in that. Moreover, serpents symbolise betrayal, and Lady Macbeth is clearly encouraging her husband to betray the king. So I've got the idea of symbolism, and I'm using lots of subject terminology, which is really important. So you need to make sure you've got that as well. Lots of subject terminology, and you'll see I'm including that to sort of support what I'm trying to say. To betray the king would be seen as sinful due to the divine right of kings believed in Jacobean times and therefore against God. So look at how this AO3 is just supporting this AO2. That's the reason it's there. It's supporting my language analysis and my analysis of the character. This line is used as a tool by Shakespeare to link Lady Macbeth to Eve, who convinced Adam to betray God and therefore lead him to his downfall. This line also foreshadows Lady Macbeth leading Macbeth to his downfall and suggests Macbeth shouldn't trust his own wife. So again, that's where I'm analysing characters. So I don't just need to zoom in on words. I need to sort of analyse the character and analyse their actions and analyse what impression I'm getting of them. Then my link back. Shakespeare may be trying to show that power corrupts women more easily. Therefore, Lady Macbeth is a far worse character. So you can see where I'm coming back to that stitch. So I'm coming back to up here, how she's a corrupting influence. So I'm just putting my argument in little tactical places all the way through to sort of prove this to my examiner. Because remember, that's the point. You're proving it to your examiner. Right now, you're proving it to Mr. Ellsmore and I. So Furthermore, Lady Macbeth emasculates her husband by calling him too full of the milk of human kindness. Anywhere I use a quote, that's actually AO1. So that's why that's green. In contrast, so here's where I'm looking at some subject terminology. Now, you often think of subject terminology as things like metaphor, simile, things like that, when actually contrast is also another one. Characterization, character impressions, these all count too. So when you're going through your own essay, have a look at whether you've included things like that. She wants her milk to be taken for gall. Lady Macbeth looks down on femininity. Looks down on Macbeth's kindness and equates it to weakness and femininity. She also asked to turn her own milk poisonous, implying she would poison a child. So here I'm actually talking about what this shows me about Lady Macbeth, which is AO2. What does this show me about her character? It doesn't just have to be zooming in on a word, although zooming in on words is very, very good, like zooming in on the word serpent up here. But this is also good as well, because this is some good, solid analysis of this is what Shakespeare's trying to show us about her character. Firstly, her lack of femininity proves she is corrupt. Look, linking back to that idea of corrupt. Proves she is corrupt as she goes against gender norms, frowned upon in the Jacobean period. So again, remember, I'm just trying to support this with some AO3. So I think this because of this as well. But I don't want to dwell on this too much because it doesn't get me as many marks as this. Secondly, she is casting out the nourishing milk from her body and replacing it with something evil. This could imply she believes her femininity to be weakness, and some may feel sympathy. Now look here, some may feel. If you look there, that's actually where I'm sort of trying to start including an alternative reading. Now we'll get alternative readings as we go on, and it might be easier to get these when we get back to school because we can discuss them and we can debate. But actually, an alternative reading, you can start on it. So how might other people see Lady Macbeth? Well, some people may have sympathy for her because women had little power in Jacobean times. So some people could see her as sort of like a sad character. However, Lady Macbeth also believes her husband's kindness makes him weak. She suggests anything that helps another human is weakness and disapproves of this in her husband. So I'm going to argue against that. However, actually, I believe that she's a terrible person, thus proving Lady Macbeth to be the most corrupt character in the play. So I'm going to keep supporting my argument. I might touch on an alternative, but I'm going to keep supporting my own argument. Why is she corrupt? Well, actually, she just doesn't like Macbeth doing anything for others. Finally, Lady Macbeth calls her home her battlements, and the violent connotations imply she is ready to allow the war to begin. Now look, I'm zooming in on words again. Furthermore, using the pronoun my, because remember she calls it my battlements, demonstrates she is the person preparing for the battle that leads to her downfall and the downfall of Macbeth. Overall, this may imply we were never meant to feel sympathy for the character in the first place. So, this is how we build up a good essay. We want to have lots and lots of AO2. Now, if you notice this essay, it doesn't have that many quotations in it. A lot of it is just looking at what's happening. Okay, so you need some quotations. I would say you need to aim sort of always for at least 3 or 4 quotations. But there are points in this where actually I could use my green highlighter and I could highlight where I've actually used some more sort of what would count as quotes. So anywhere I talk about their downfall, by saying downfall, I'm implying that Lady Macbeth and Macbeth have died. So actually that counts. I could underline that in green if I wanted to, because that does count as a what's called a textual reference. So actually, anywhere where I'm talking about the plot, anywhere where I'm talking about the quotes, and anywhere where I'm talking about the character, those are 3 things that are going to still get me AO1 marks. But what the examiner's really looking out for is how well your AO2 and your AO3 come together, and how well those 2 things support each other and also support your AO1. So as you go through my essay, compare it to yours. So try the same thing, okay? So I don't mind if you're doing this on paper. I don't mind if you're doing this on a Word document. See if you can highlight your AO1, your AO2 and AO3 and see if it comes out looking something like this. Now, if it doesn't come out looking something like this, then actually you need to consider what you're doing more of. Because you don't want to spend your time doing things that aren't going to get you those marks. You want to spend your time doing as many things that are going to get you the marks as possible. So when you have a look through mine, this is going to get you quite a lot of marks. And actually this is sort of edging into probably about a grade 6 essay. Now, we're aiming for grade 6 at the moment, because we don't want to aim for grade 7 or 8 or 9 too early. You need to get a grade 6 down before you can move on. Okay, so this is what we're going to aim for. We're going to aim for an essay that's nice and clear, looks like this, and something that we can actually put a lot of highlighting in, but we can actually put a lot of AO2 in. That's what we want to focus on. Okay, then AO3 and AO1 come in as well. AO1's fairly simple to do as long as you've got a line of argument and a clear message from the writer you're going to keep linking back to. And AO3 is used to support your AO2. Okay, so I will set you the work to do a reflection piece on this, and I want you to be really, really careful with what you're telling me that you think could be improved on your own essay. And then we will be telling you whether we agree or we disagree with you. Okay, so that's going to be your work for today. If I've said anything too quickly, then make sure you pause this video and make sure you read along with this, or you read this before you actually watch the video so you actually completely understand it. Okay, right, well done on trying it. Let's hope we can get everyone to at least a grade 6 before we come back, and then we'll go then we'll move on to grade 7, 8 and 9s for a lot of you.